Hi guys, Bobby here. This is the new Elantra. Now earlier on they have the 1.6 turbo and the 2-liter NA MPI engine, and now because of lackluster sales they have discontinued the turbo. They have thoroughly changed the styling, and there's only one variant, the 2-liter executive, which is this one. And I do not know why they do this in terms of the styling, because it was one of the rather handsome cars out there, the Elantra, but very European styling. In fact, I always say that it's just a badge swap away from being an Audi. The Elantra had really nice headlamps and grills, and then the rear tail lamps. The whole styling of the car was nicely executed. It's a handsome car. And then they turned it to this. They made the headlamps really triangular. There's a out of nowhere triangular theme coming, and I'll let you see. Okay, the whole headlamp, instead of being the more modern, earlier on they cut off here, right? So you have a grille, and now the daytime running lights just run like an arrow all the way in, and it's super sharp, super triangular. This looks like those concept cars from the late 90s or early 2000s. Those sharp triangular lines. Remove the whole aggressive side intake look-alike bumpers and clean it up with all these straight lines and triangular lamps. Basically, it has turned from a rather tasteful design to a more amateurish design. Alright, and the bonnet has these two straight cut lines that runs down, and then trying to match with these, it just doesn't look that appealing anymore. There's a roundish look to the front, and then triangular is everywhere. It's not a nice design. It's no longer a good looking design. Did they downsize the wheels? I'm not sure. These are Goodyear efficient grip. During the drive up just now, it is rather good in terms of traction, in terms of drivability, high speed cruising. These are considered as an efficient word there. Is rather good. Alright, 17-inch wheels, but on this large wheel arch it looks 16. But I have no qualms about this 5-spoke double spoke design. Of course they can't change the roof line. That would be very, very costly. So they did a restyling exercise on the rear. It's as if they turned the car into a previous generation of the previous Elantra. Alright, but it is the same car. It's a facelift. It's a very heavy facelift, costly facelift. The number plates were moved from here to here. There's a huge Elantra word flanking the rear and a huge Hyundai logo there. The reverse camera is mounted there. It's an integrated type, but somehow there's just this bulge there, because the whole camera sits into the boot lid of the rear. Right, so it's clean up here, so I suspect the release button should be up. Nope, no release button. There is a diffuser look-alike stuff there, hidden tailpipes. I think this restyling exercise is unnecessary, costly, and the end result was something uglier from when they started. One of those bad corporate decisions. Keyless entry, but it's the button type, so you have to press it. Manual seats, and these are some of the worst seats I've sit on this year. It's totally lack of support, especially down the thigh here. It's short. There are no supports, so I find it very difficult to find a decent driving position. Was adjusting it here and there. And this is, it looks like a compartment, but it's a fuse box, you know. So there's nothing there. Traction control buttons here. Adjust the headlamps, and the whole door cut has been, it's all hard plastics, but it's not the scratchy type, but it's also not the high quality type. Everything is hard, everything, you know. Very little, small little door bins. There are no speakers here, but the door bins cut off here, so you can't really put much stuff in here except a small water bottle. They could have made it larger, wider. See, there's a lot of space. There is a lot of space over here. Even if my fat thighs, my legs and all that, see, there are a lot of space that has gone unused. There's a weird carbon fiber pattern down there to indicate the sportiness of this car. Now, the chassis of the car is sporty. Make no mistakes about it. It's a nice drive, high-speed cruising and all that, but the droning of the transmission makes you wonder if it is a 4-speed gearbox or a CVT. And then you look at this thing. It's a 6-speed transmission with gears that are so narrow that the whole car is just screaming all the way. It feels like a 4-speed when you're driving fast. I have no idea why a 6-speed transmission can be operating in this manner. It just feels like a 4-speed, just screaming screaming all the way. And here they changed the styling a bit, try to modernize it, and this part is rather un-Korean, meaning Korean cars generally have solid build, but look at this. Maybe it's a, I don't know. And this makes you thought that it's a screen, something is supposed to be projected there, but none. No. It's just a blank swath of gloss black panel that sort of look like a screen, but it's not. There's a tiny screen here, tiny in today's standards, very small, but I don't mind in this segment, but this segment has certainly moved. It's touchscreen as well. There's like a home screen kind of thing, and these look like shortcut buttons. No media files, radio, it goes into radio, phone. Okay. It's a bit confusing. Okay, this feels like a phone here with the apps here set up. Okay. Yeah, need some time to settings. The way they structured the menu, right? They structured in a linear way. That means a linear menu access. You press and then you go in. But after you go in, it becomes like an icon-based system. And can I swipe from here? I can't. My menu? No, I can add things to my own customized menu. There's Android Auto and Apple Carplay for those of you who like it. Maybe this context is good to have Android Auto and Apple Carplay because the original system is not that user friendly. Right, down here you have a compartment, USB box, auxiliary, huge buttons over here just to fill up the space because I don't know what to do with it. A lot of blank buttons here. Drive mode, very basic. 2 lubang here, 2 holes here, small armrest, USB port in there, gear handbrake lever, very large. That's about it. There's a sunglass holder here. Yeah, nothing much. On the steering wheel, no paddle shifters, and the phone control buttons. That's about it. You can feel there is a serious case of cost cutting going on here. Lock the car. Come to the rear. That is my driving position. There are rear aircon vents mounted rather high. The floorboard is pretty flat, and I can fit my shoes in my size 11 feet in between the rails of the seats. So the rear passenger space is okay. There's decent leg room, and then you come to here. My head is brushing against the headliner. I'm 5'11". The window lines are rather high, so very narrow windows. You see that? Okay, everything is hard plastic again, but it's not the scratchy Nissan type. But it's not nice feeling type. This one try to look like the Mazda 3, whereby you have a metallic strip with a metallic door handle or with a metal door handle, but this is clearly plastic that is painted with silver color. Immediately you look at it, you touch it, you can feel it. Alright, and very simple again, just one cushion, 2 holes, and the angle of the seat is there is a slant angle to it. They need that because the roof line is horrible for a C-segment family car. I mean, it's okay if you are a 4-door coupe or something like that, but and then there's a lack of support on the thigh area. Basically the whole car's cushion and all that, these are very simple, very flat type of cushion. They try their best to garnish it a little bit. The stitch works are not yeah, look at that, it's all crooked lines and all that. So these are very low cost leather seats, or PU, you know. It just doesn't feel atas, which they're not trying to feel atas, but then this car is 110,000 ringgit. Yep, right smack in the Proton X70 price range, which is an SUV, I understand that. And let's open the boot. This feels so 90s. Pops up, and then you have a large boot. Nothing going on in here, just a large empty swath of space, the swan neck hinge, and then you can pull to let the seats come down. Basically, this is like a 2019 C-segment car that feels like a 2019 B-segment car now, but with the C-segment pricing. They could have maintained the 1.6 turbo. At least they can do some marketing with it, you know, because the 1.6 turbo is clearly faster than the Civic Turbo. Handling is sharp for this car, it's good handling, but overall, when it all reflects a lack of confidence in the company, right? When you lack confidence, you're like, we won't be able to sell it. Let's try and squeeze 5k here, 10k here, and the end result is something like that, right? You have an engine that is average, soundproofing that is average, interior that is subpar, and then a driving experience that is good, but a very noisy transmission. 110,000. Same verdict as quite a few Hyundai cars. You just can't find a reason to, why should I buy it, you know? Why? Yep. In terms of specs, it's just average, you know, 6 airbags, blah blah. Really nothing much to shout out about. Enjoy the drive though. I really enjoy the drive. How's the drive like? The drive, it has a very good chassis balance. Initial turn-in feels a bit wonky. It's like, ooh, what's happening? It's a bit scary, initial turn-in, but after that it settles down, it's alright. And just now I mentioned about the transmission. It says there 6-speed, so by right it has enough cogs to run up the ref range to cater for average from low to high speed. I mean, I don't mean high as in 200, 220 kilometers per hour, but if the car reaches 200, 220 and is making that noise, oh, it's understandable. But it's already making that about 140, 150, you know. These are cruising speeds on Malaysian highways. And this confirms that this one has a very tight ratio, right? Moderately hard driving, 13.7 liters per 100 km, which is considered thirsty for a 2-liter NA car. Certainly no way it can challenge the 2-liter Mazda 3. So you look at this segment, does the Mazda 3 feels 29,000 ringgit more expensive than this car? Definitely. The Mazda 3 feels 50,000 ringgit more expensive than this car. When you look at this interior now, this one is not too far away from anything that Proton's currently builds in terms of the build and all that. It's just rather somber, and you just feel that what's going on with Hyundai. I mean, Kia makes lovely interiors, handsome cars. They both share platform and share engine and share transmission, but they are both independent in their way. So far, Kia is doing a much better job in terms of design, in terms of execution, whereas Hyundai is a bit here and there, trying to appeal to the lowest denominator. Yeah. Let's go drive. Depressing to look at all this. How does the on-road driving feels? Normal, decent. It's just that every time you put your foot down, that sound is pretty loud, and with the way it shifts gears, you know, modern transmissions, right? They have been able to just, you put your foot down and then, what are you doing, Majidi? This one does there's a lot of shift shock, and I know you get shift shocks from Lamborghini Aventadors, but decent family car. I don't think the way the transmission shifts will be comfortable, as well as the way it sounds. You know, it's not like it sounds good. I mean, certain cars, they're loud, but they make a good sound. I mean, it's like you have sex with this person, and then first she makes all the weird positions, and then she makes weird sounds. Even though, okay, that's a bad analogy. I wonder if anyone watching this, if you work in Hyundai, will you buy for 110 grand? I know you're like, hey Bobby, don't like that, hey, it's just my job. I know, but you are consumer as well. You reflect the consumers out there. Will you? That's my question, you know. I mean, if you look at on paper, oh, it's 2-liter NA, 6-speed gearbox, Android Auto, Apple Carplay, 6 airbags, 17-inch rims, reverse camera with dynamic lines. Yeah. I see a few, not a lot, but I see a few running around. The one before this facelift, because to be honest, it's a handsome car. And then there's the 1.6 turbo. But now, will you? Will you? I think Kia did a better job with their cars. Cheers. Just now as I came down from Kerinci, I went through a huge undulation. and this car just absorbs the shit out of it. It's just brilliant suspension. So at the end of the day, the chassis balance of this car, the suspension of this car is fantastic. This awards you with the kind of handling capabilities that someone who splurged 230,000 on an A200 would wish for. That car rides horribly. So it has its merits. And this 2-litre NA engine, it pulls strong for a 2-litre NA. Anywhere from 110 to 150 kmph, it pulls strong. I mean, of course, these are the characteristics of direct injection engine as well, but lovely. Is this the best 2-litre direct injection I've driven? I think the one in the Ford Focus earlier on, before they turned it to 1.5 turbo, that 2-litre direct injection engine is fantastic. Anyway, yeah. Still makes a lot of noise, still crappy interiors, an uglier exterior. Basically, there are merits that has been engineered into this car from the onset when it was first developed back in 2015 maybe. But corporate decisions of cutting here and there has rendered this car rather uncompetitive now in this context. Cheers.